Welcome to Patch Notes 3.0, the podcast where the topics are random, the arguments are chaotic, and the points mean everything. I'm Miguel Duran, joined by my two friends Serge and Robert. As you all know, each week we bring a brand new patch to our messed up minds where one of us leads the charge, the others scramble to keep up, and by the end, only one will emerge victorious. That is, of course, unless we forget to keep score. Before we get into any of that, how are you guys doing this week?
Doing pretty good. I don't think I've had a pretty eventful week other than playing Marvel Rivals with you. We
Yeah,
finally got up to what was it like plat two?
no, we wish. Silver 2.
Oh, silver two. Yeah, that's right. Shit, I wish it was plat
If
two.
I was
No,
there, then you guys would definitely be plateau. But alas,
I
Nah,
know
man.
it's because you need to get on the PC wave, Surge.
I know one day for sure. One day.
Honestly, it's such a miss. Like, when games do that, where they have it, where I mean, I guess I get why they do it, but I feel like crossplay is like there's a lot opens up the opportunity for a bigger player base,
Yeah,
especially if you're playing ranked, because after a while, like basic standard mode gets boring after a while. So yeah, big misplay. But yeah,
that's
as
true.
Robert was saying, we're the only ones with PC and Serge is on PS5, so we can't play ranked together.
I know. I wish we could. Like, it'd be fun, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No,
What
but it
else I got
has been
going
shitty.
on? No, dude, fucking getting out of bronze, bro. That was atrocious. And then playing pub as compared to comp, bro, pub lobbies are way worse than comp. You'd think it'd be
Mm,
the other way around, but no. People are
yeah.
sweaty in pubs. Oh, I saw that what were you saying that they gotten on strike like the sports?
Oh yeah. There's been like a big like support strike movement. So at first I thought it's because there was this prominent player called Necros. He's a big like DPS main. I think specifically Spider-Man.
Hmm.
But he was like shit calling some like the support I guess group. But apparently it goes deeper than that. That apparently in the game,
Hmm.
when you have ranked, you know how like after you score a certain amount of points after each game to like either go up or down.
Yeah,
Apparently it's skewed against support players. So
interesting.
it rewards people for getting kills, for getting assists, and things like that, which you would get as a DPS character. So it favors DPS characters and it kind of minimizes the support role. So it's harder, apparently, to grind upwards with a support character.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah, yeah.
interesting.
So yeah, there's a strike going on.
Yeah, but I saw like the devs of the game were even that they had promised to like buff support characters, but then
Hmm.
they came out saying it that the healers need to like provide the support to the
Yeah,
DPS players. But it's like if the DPS players aren't helping the healers in the back line, like what are you gonna do there, you know?
it's a cold world.
I know. What about you, Serge? What's happening with you?
A lot of stuff. I finally finished two of the four books I was reading. So very exciting stuff as always. One of them, it's the Mistborn trilogy by Brendan Sanderson. The last book, it's called The Hero of Ages, and basically, amazing book. It was like a culmination of everything from the first two books. I mean, obviously, but the way he writes it is it's kind of like is the juice worth the squeeze because everything is kind of build up and then like the last 20% of a book is like everything is just like resolving, like going fast, like everything's happening. And it was really good because throughout the whole series, he's kind of laying in like different hints, details, plot points to kind of like make a bunch of revelations at the end, and like the whole story comes together. It's a fantasy series, a bunch of action, cool magic, good characters, like emotional scenes at the end. It was really good. And then the other series I finished, it's called Lycanius. It's by James Islington,
Hmm.
and this one involves time travel. And honestly, his time travel, it's really good. Like it's compact, everything fits together, everything makes sense. Like there's like is a cause and effect or is effect a cause, that kind of stuff. Like something that happened that hasn't happened is what caused something to happen in the past, stuff like that.
Uh,
Yeah, so it's that kind of story. Yeah,
that's
So it's
cool.
yeah,
like the grandfather paradox type of deal, or no?
yeah. But it's like it's not split timeline, so it's everything kind of affects itself.
Okay.
But like I said, like he really has like his time travel down because it can get really confusing really fast in certain stories, or like
Yeah.
it doesn't add up. And this one all the way to the end, and I just finished the book last night. It all adds up. It all fits together. The only problem is though, the second book was so good, and he made so many revelations and put and like showed us stuff that the third book kind of just felt like stuff was resolving and like little stuff was getting tied up. So
Mm.
it wasn't as good. It was decent, but at least the epilogue was really strong. So it kind of at least left me with like a more positive taste overall in the series, which I would recommend both series for sure if you like longer books and fantasy though.
How
But
long
yeah,
are the books?
oh, like
Like
for
chunky ones?
yeah, for example, because like I said, I either do audiobooks or online books.
Hmm.
Like for example, the Mistborn one, that's 27 hours on the audiobook. And
Okay.
then the Lycanius one, the third one, it's like a 30-hour audiobook, for example. So they're chonkers for sure.
And you heard both of them, or you actually read them?
Uh, I did both.
A
Like
little bit of
sometimes I
both.
read it, sometimes I listen to it. Just switching
Okay.
back and forth.
Do you have a
Do you?
preference when you like you're going through a book like that, like where you find yourself enjoying the audiobook more, maybe less?
Um, no, honestly, it just kind of depends like what I'm feeling. If the narrator for an audiobook is something I don't vibe with, then I'll probably
Mm.
just do book only. But if I like the narrator, then I will switch between both.
I feel like I'd have to listen to it like on two times speed just to get through it.
Yeah, I do like 1.30. That's what I've
Okay.
that's like the place I've found that it best
That's your
fits at.
sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's been new with me. So, oh, and before we keep moving on, I resumed A Clash of Kings, which is the second book of Game of Thrones. So that's the next one I'll be working on.
Read it.
Dang,
That
so
way we can
interesting.
talk about it.
How many
Yeah.
books have you read just this year? Do you have like a
Um,
some
I
to
think
keep
I'm at
count?
either five or six. I
Oh,
think so. I think Clash of Kings will probably be my sixth book this year.
nice.
Yeah.
Do you ever take breaks in between like switching books, or how do you knock them out?
I don't. It's just like if one day I'm like, honestly, no. I just it's either something I would like. There's always a desire to read something, so I'll
Yeah.
probably take a break for like 2 days and be like, I'm getting that itch again, and then I'll just start reading something.
Are these books that you find interesting, or like they're recommended to you?
It's stuff that I found through like YouTube, Reddit, the
Okay.
internet. I did a lot of research to make sure like I found stuff that would fit my tastes.
Nice.
Yeah,
Where do you
so
listen to them? Because I was gonna ask you last time, but I keep forgetting to ask you. Like, do you have to pay for
it's
like a subscription or something?
I use an application called Libby, and
Oh,
through your
okay.
public
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
library,
Mm-hmm.
you get access to audiobooks and books. So that's what I do.
But I saw like
So
sometimes you have to wait for them, right? Because like they're in a queue.
yeah, because it's like if you're like at a regular library, like
Yeah.
somebody else is borrowing it, because like they have like digital copies, I guess, a certain limit,
Mhm.
and that's how it works.
But can you access any Texas library?
No, El Paso, the
Oh,
one
it's
you're
the
in,
same.
yeah. So if for some
Oh.
reason you have like an ID in Delaware, that's all you, Robert.
Why me in Delaware?
You never
Live
know.
in
Most
Delaware.
random state
Yeah,
ever.
you never know.
One of my really close friends is going to be there for 2 years. He's getting
In
deployed over
Delaware?
there in Delaware. Yeah.
Uh, What is there
We know
even
like
to do
nothing.
in Delaware?
Downtown, probably. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Probably.
I think it's pretty up north. It's like by New York, so apparently it gets really cold up there.
Isn't it like one of the smallest states?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's like 45 minutes to drive across.
What?
No
Something
That's
way.
crazy.
That's
hilarious.
It's something
insane.
There's no
crazy like that.
way.
Let's see.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
look it
something
up.
crazy like that. I remember him saying, but I think the drive from here to there is like 32 hours or something like that.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be quite a journey. Uh, yeah. I guess me, I haven't really been up to much this week. It's been pretty chill. Um, I have been going to the gym, so
Nice.
it's been really really good. Definitely seen a lot of growth in my arms and in my legs. Um, I just the thing that always gets me is like I've always had like I guess like a large size to me. The thing
Hmm.
is like cutting down weight's always been difficult for me, just because it's the diet aspect that always gets me. That and my love for beer. Uh, so yeah, this weekend I was doing pretty good about it this year. I hadn't been drinking that much, but this past couple weeks I've just been drinking quite a bit, which has been nice. But I'm also like, all the work I've been putting in to kind of get there has kind of been
I
lost.
mean,
But
as long as you're doing it in moderation, Mikey, like I told you, bro, you gotta hop on the treadmill. You gotta hit those 10K steps a day.
no, bro, I'm hitting 10K beers a day.
A day.
No, it's
Okay,
been
so I
great.
looked
What
it
I've
up. crossing Delaware, it takes about 25 to 30 minutes.
Damn, even
Wow,
smaller.
that
It's
is
insane,
crazy, especially since we're in Texas and it takes us like 3 to 5 business days to cross Texas, basically.
dude, honestly.
It's like 8 hours to reach even
Like
a major city.
from
Yeah.
here, it's we get faster to LA, right? Or to Cali,
Uh,
than going
yeah.
to where is
That's
it? Dallas or
crazy.
Houston?
Yeah, I think it's something like from where I are in El Paso, it's faster to get to California than it is to get to like one of the cities in within Texas itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably Houston. I think it's like
I think
13
it's
hours.
Houston because it's the furthest. Yeah.
That's
Because
crazy.
what to get to Cali, it's like 12.
Yeah. Oh, but other than that, just been chilling, grinding Marvel Rivals. Play a little bit Apex Ranked, which is also cancer. Uh,
Yeah.
That game is horrible.
That
The
it's
game is
bad.
bad.
recoil, the recoil, I hate the recoil.
The
Yeah,
blue.
no, and if for anybody who's been playing it recently, the time to kill is insane. Like you're alive with full health like 1 second, and then the next second you're dead. Like it's insane. It's immediate death. But it's pretty fun. It's kind of the I'm blanking on the word or like the phrase for it. But like getting a PC, you get to run games like optimally. You get great
Hmm.
graphics. Loading up time is great. Like you can run things in the background. It's awesome. The bad thing about it is like the ranked sector of most games are pretty intense, just because you have those keyboard warriors and aim people with like incredible aim, and it's just like what the fuck. I'm just chilling.
Honestly,
uh,
right? We're just trying to play this game to relax, and we're over here getting
getting
shit on by
stomped.
like 13-year-olds.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, anything else anybody want to bring up
I
before?
gotta congratulate Serge real quick.
Mm.
Serge, do you know what I'm congratulating you about
Uh, no.
in the sports world for you in
Oh, of
particular?
course. How could I forget? Liverpool Premier League champs. Never a
Mm.
doubt in my mind. It was a given. Mohamed Salah stop people for some reason there's been this trend of people disrespecting Mohamed Salah. Like they're trying to say like that Sadio Mane, even though he wasn't as good, he was like more impactful or like stuff like that. And it's like, dude, Salah has established himself as like within like that conversation of like an all-time great Premier League player. But people want to hate on him. Now I'm not saying he's like a Thierry Henry or stuff,
Hmm.
but he deserves to get that same level of respect as the other great players in the history of the Premier League.
I don't know. I feel like there was like a lot of glazing towards him. A lot of people were just hopping on his bandwagon.
Like I said, he's not at Thierry Henry levels, like top three, top five player of all time in the Premier League, but he's definitely should be respected.
That's true. I can't argue against
Yeah,
that. We
and
also,
and just the fact that Arsenal didn't get to win the league is like an extra oomph to it, which of course nobody thinks they're going to win the league. They suck. Nobody cares about them.
but they
They're
still have a chance
washed.
to win the
Oh,
Champions League.
that'd be hilarious.
Is he like the
Also,
Draymond Green of soccer?
No, he's no.
no,
I man, what is it in what's it called in
His
NBA
player
terms?
comp. His player
Yeah, in
comp. Yeah.
NBA terms.
But how does this affect LeBron's legacy?
Exactly. I don't know. I feel because he's way better than Draymond Green in comparison, like as a
yeah,
player. Yeah,
Okay. Just
like
because I'm
way
saying like
better.
Draymond's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So he'd be like Dwight Howard.
No, still also better. Way more accomplishments. That's the thing. See
Oh,
what I mean?
hmm
Yeah. So
okay.
this
Like
is
a
a hard one.
Kevin Garnett.
Kind of, because
I mean,
maybe if
he has the chips, he has the
that's true.
accolades.
If Kevin Garnett had like two league MVPs,
Oh shit. Okay.
like a top 20, top 30 player, but people want to treat him like he was always like not that guy.
No, I don't know, because Aaron Rodgers gets like undue. I feel like he's overhated, but I think Aaron Rodgers is top 10. Would that be like too high for him? So somewhere between Dwight Howard and Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know. It's because like in soccer, dude, it's totally different. Like you can't put him well, Mohamed Salah in the top 10 just because of all. If you're taking into account like all the players that have ever played soccer,
Yeah.
it's
Hmm.
kind of like maybe of no, not even of like this century either,
Yeah. I'd put him like top 30 player for sure. Even
Oh,
or at
top,
least for his position. At least for his position.
well,
Well,
or maybe forwards, I guess, not just his
not
position.
yeah.
Yeah. Top
okay.
30, period. Doesn't matter the position. Top 20, that's pushing it for sure. But I think he
Mm.
gets at the bottom of top 30, but he's there.
Okay.
He's broken records in the Premier League. He hasn't just won titles.
Okay. Okay.
And also, and even though it doesn't technically count, he won a Champions League while being part of Liverpool.
Yeah, but he was hurt because Sergio Ramos broke his clavicle.
Don't even remind me. Let's just switch conversations before I
Okay, wait,
you
but
get me
still,
started.
while we're still in soccer, Serge, I don't know if you heard about Harry Kane.
No.
So he's with who? Bayern right now, right?
Yes.
Or so Miguel, just for background, Harry Kane, he's from England. He played with
Yes.
Tottenham Hotspurs.
Uh-huh.
Tottenham has never won a trophy at all. Harry Kane was there for the longest time.
He was really
He
good.
yeah,
Really
he's really
No,
good.
good.
I know the name. I know the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's in Fortnite. That's the only reason why you know him.
I didn't even know. Honestly, I didn't know he was in Fortnite,
Yeah, he's in Fortnite.
which I
So
was
yeah,
just on like right before the podcast.
so yeah, he switched over to Bayern, which is German league,
Hmm.
and so now Bayern has the opportunity to win a trophy. However, the last game that Bayern played, Harry Kane got a yellow card, which suspends him for the following game.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude. So it's just the
And what
trophy
makes
gods.
what makes it funnier is that Byron almost always wins the league,
Yeah.
and they might not win it the first year he gets there.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So even if they win, would he still get credit for the chip?
Well, yeah, because I mean he's still a part of the team, but he's just
But he's not
suspended for the
there winning
game.
it.
He won't be able to. Yeah, exactly.
Mm,
That is funny.
that sucks.
Also, did you guys see that there was like a sperm race?
I did see that.
I mean, I don't know the logistics of it or how it worked, but apparently, like two guys went up against each other in a sperm race.
That should have been in our first episode.
Right?
But I need
Yeah,
I need more information.
let's see.
You're leaving up too much to the imagination.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
From what I saw, like it did involve like what is this? So you can zoom in a microscope.
Yeah.
It was like at that level.
What?
Yeah.
We're using top tier medical science and equipment
To
to
put
ex
over unders.
to examine the fertility rate. I saw that there's like betting odds for the Pope.
Ah,
Oh
yeah, I
my
did see
goodness.
that.
Are you
Yeah,
So
serious?
yeah.
the
That is
world's first
ridiculous.
sperm race was held in Los Angeles this past Friday night
Hmm.
and raised 1
First.
million in efforts to raise awareness to the worldwide decline in male fertility. So I guess it was like a charity event.
Okay.
I mean, nothing gets people going like thinking about
So it
other
was
guys
it
coming.
was USC versus UCLA.
Oh, shut up. They're colleges?
It,
I thought it was just two
it's
dudes.
where four competitors went head to head at a movie studio in downtown LA. It had everything a normal fight style event entails, including weigh-ins, statistics, pre and post race interviews, betting opportunities, live commentary, and trash talking.
They go
Dude,
for
what
like
kind of
the
pre and
reach,
post stats would they have?
the reach.
They're how far it can shoot out.
Yeah, reach. Their 40 time. That's crazy.
That's
Who won?
funny.
Because those are like top two colleges in California.
I don't know.
I bet it was UCLA.
That's funny.
Or no, it has to be USC. They're the Trojans. Like it's
Yeah, so
literally
I
like
think the second main card was won by USC.
The second make. Um,
Oh, dude.
so. Mm, mm.
So it says the founders of sperm racing are not looking at this as some kind of one-time thing. They are building a real league that will serve a real path to greatness and are set to host open tryouts.
That's crazy. So they just jerk it like in the middle of a ring? Or
I do
is
have
it do they provide
let's
the
see.
sample afterwards and that's what they're measuring?
I think the sample was already provided. It's
Sample's
not.
already
Yeah.
provided. Okay, so it's not like a live thing, so you get like performance anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, so samples are collected from two individuals and then diluted and cleaned to ensure optimal conditions for the race.
Mm.
My question is, how do you even find out you're good at this so you can start, getting those college scholarships?
I know, right? They're gonna start making college teams.
Yeah, they're gonna
So
find a
the sperm
percentile.
samples are introduced into a microfluidic device, a miniature racetrack that simulates the female reproductive tract. So I guess it's whoever's sperm reaches the end of that track
That's
wins.
funny. That's funny.
People just be doing anything nowadays.
I mean, anything for the over unders, like Serge was saying. Yeah, that's pretty
All right.
crazy.
And I have one last questions that I've been seeing on my Twitter feed.
Hmm.
It's if would 100 people take on a
Uh,
gorilla, who would win?
I saw that.
Oh, you
a
did?
100 people is a lot of people. The gorilla will probably absolutely massacre like the first 20 that overwhelm him. No, that push him, but at some point we're gonna overwhelm him. Like 100 is a lot of people.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't, maybe I'm too overconfident. But I feel like a good less than 10.
That's crazy.
G-
You need at least 30 so you can overwhelm them for sure. At least.
Overwhelm them. I mean, I get like they're super strong, but like they don't even eat meat. They don't have like the primal instinct to hunt, you know? So I don't think I'd be more scared about a bear than I would a
Oh,
gorilla.
yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah.
I think people have taken down bears. Oh, but it's hand-to-hand combat, right?
It's hand to
Yes.
hand. Yeah, just like 100 dudes versus a gorilla.
No, that's
Yeah.
too many. 20 max. Like at least 20.
I think you
20,
Yeah,
it
need
would take 20 to beat a gorilla?
yeah. Pretty
I think you
handily.
need
Like they're
I think you
be
need at least 30.
at least 30. No. I mean, it takes I think 3 are going down like
Oh yeah, dude, like
upon
the
first
first
encounter.
five, the first five are definitely that's it for them.
Yeah, but then you just gotta hold down a limb and then hopefully choke it out like Tarzan did.
Because an important factor to consider, are we doing like a draft of the best, or is it just a random pool of
Yeah,
humans?
just like a random pool.
The four competitors from USC and UCLA.
Challenges the gorilla to a formal sperm race.
Uh, I think 10. I think
No, dude, that's
realistically 10.
insane.
I
No,
think
dude,
10.
if they're like Ronnie Coleman size, maybe.
Well, because I don't even think gorillas are that big. I
That's
think we
true.
stand taller than gorillas.
Ain't no way, brother.
Yeah, they're not that big. At
Let's see.
most, they're like 5'2".
Oh
Ain't no way
god.
there's 6 foot gorillas, bro. There's no way.
Oh,
Does not matter. At least 30.
they're 4'4".
See 4'4", bro. That's like legally a midget.
Dude, I never realized how short they were.
They're not that big. Like like tigers and lions are scarier than gorillas.
Yeah. Okay, I guess you're right.
A
Then it's
pack of
crazy that
wolves is scarier than a gorilla.
that is true. Have you seen the gray?
There you go. Like, here's the thing: is like 10 wolves can destroy a gorilla, and I think 10 people could take out 10 wolves. So,
There's no way.
so, I, so I think it's possible.
So at some point, if you keep doing comparisons, we can take down a bear if you do the math. Is that
We
what you're
could
getting
take
at?
down a T-Rex. No, I think 10 people. Now I feel even stronger about it, finding out that they're only 4'4". That's crazy.
That's true.
Nah, I got
I
it.
think that's hilarious.
100's way too much. Like I don't even know what 100 people wouldn't be able to take down.
A grizzly.
Like like a
101 people.
you could take down like a civilization with 100 people. You know?
Take down a small country.
Yeah, 100 highly trained people. That's funny. Well, I guess that kind of leads us into our next one because we will be talking about wildlife and survival.
Oh, that's true.
Uh, so, so I guess good segue, unintentionally. So for this episode of the podcast, I'm going to be presenting 5 different scenarios in which you all will have to survive. So a little bit about each of the 5 things that the 5 scenarios is you're only allowed to pick 3 things. Okay. Um, I will be including one. Um, no, I'm sorry. It's just gonna be the 3 things. So I'm gonna give you the scenario you're caught in, some of like the things that you may be facing, such as climate, vegetation, wildlife, things like that, and kind of the reason you're there, which might affect certain things.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
So it's gonna be. So after I kind of go over the scenario, I'll give you guys about a minute, 2 minutes to come up with 3 items. And then from there, you guys will present item 3. You will discuss it, item 2, until we get to item 1. And then from there, I'll be keeping track and I'll see which one I like more.
Okay.
And I guess who I'd want to be caught with in terms
Alright.
of having to survive these things. A little bit about the scenarios too. In all of them, you're required to survive for 8 months. So at the end of the 8 month period, um, you'll get rescued, and so you'll be able to return back to your life and things like that. Okay. So
Okay.
it's just reaching it to the 8 months. All right. Any questions?
I don't think so. Not right now.
Alrighty. So the first one, you find yourself. Uh, okay. So a furious typhoon shatters your freight liner on the Pacific. Hours of clinging to wreckage under a blistering sun ends with you washing up on a tiny, uninhabited island. No one knows you're there. No supplies to survive. You're sunburnt, dehydrated, and already fading. The conditions are heat during the day and monsoon rains at night. So the top, you know, conditions or threats that you'll be facing are, of course, dehydration, infections, the storms, coconut crabs, and aggressive monitor lizards. And so there is a dense jungle, which has edible plants there, and then the shores or the reefs are surrounded by shark infested waters. So I'm gonna give you guys 2 minutes, and then after the 2 minutes are up, we'll discuss your items and kind of how you would use them to survive. Okay?
All right.
All right. And starting now.
Okay, so uninhibited small island.
Uh-huh.
You said heat in the mornings, all during the day, and then monsoons at night.
Monsoons at night. Uh-huh.
Okay. Shark infested waters.
Mm-hmm. And then it's gonna be, hot and dry during the day and monsoons at night. Um, and yeah, crabs and lizards and sharks.
And is there, do we know what kind of vegetation is on the island?
It's edible vegetation. So I mean, you'll have like coconuts, you'll have like pineapples, things like that. Um,
Okay.
and edible plants. I'm not really sure what that would consist of, but they're edible. Everything there is
Okay.
edible. No, so nothing poisonous you have to worry about.
Awesome. Perfect. Hmm.
And you guys have 1 more minute.
I am ready whenever Robert is.
Damn.
Dang, Serge. Freaking, have you been through this situation before?
No, if anything, I don't know how confident I am in my survival skills, so I might not fare well in
Oh,
this episode.
and I'll preface it with it's with skills that you have already. So like you can't ask for like, you know, nunchucks and you just magically know how to use nunchucks.
So in that case, I'd be good to go still.
Okay. 30 more seconds.
Okay.
Or whenever you're ready, Robert.
No, I think I'm ready, but we're good to go.
All right. Okay, so I guess we'll start with Serge since he's so confident. Serge, what would be the third item that you would take, or the first item?
Well, first of all, like I said, I am not confident at all.
Okay.
But the first one I'm thinking, you said there's a lot of vegetation.
Hmm.
It's just like a small like hatchet like type axe.
Okay.
So immediately, so I can. Am I already explaining the purpose, or am I just stating my item right now?
State the first item and then how you would use it for 8 months.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
Kind of justify it, like your rationale for it.
yeah. So that's my first item, and immediately I'm thinking I'm gonna have to cut down trees, cut down shrubs, cut down anything, maybe even animals or stuff for food. The little lizards you said. Um,
Monitors are pretty big. They're like I'd say about 4 or 5 feet long.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm using it to cut down trees to make shelter. Kind of like those guys on YouTube that build like crazy contraptions.
The
Well,
the backyard pools.
yeah. Well, that's not gonna be me. That's gonna be like just like a little half circular dome,
Hmm.
so I can have cover from the sun in the day and also from the rain at night.
Okay.
um, Using it obviously to hunt. Um, those would be my main purposes. I don't know if I could use it as a fire starter somehow, like chipping against the rock or pebbles, because again, I have no idea what to do in that kind of scenario. But also try see if that works, because if it does, then that'd be perfect.
Okay. Pretty good start. What about you, Robert? What's your first item?
I think for me, it'd have to be like some sort of water filtration device,
Hmm.
just because, since I'm going to be surrounded by a bunch of salt water, but there is monsoon season, so I can just figure out how to capture the water because it's going to be raining a lot. So I filtrate that water out. But I mean, you did say that there are coconuts and other, edible fruits, but I don't know how many. I guess if it's going to be scarce or not. So I mean, I could always replant, right? But
Yeah.
I'd rather save that for food instead
Hmm.
of drinking it and use the water filtration device for those 8 months and just have clean water.
Hmm. Yeah, because I think you would go crazy, just with consuming salt water. And then
Exactly.
even if you catch it, like there might be like diseases and whatever you're already having, so having a way to purify it is really good. All right.
Exactly. Can even purify
Also,
the coconut water as well if I need to.
also really good. And when you say
Also,
water filtration
uh-huh.
device, is that like one of those like tubes that you're like those like
Yeah,
straws?
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, just because that's gonna be like the easiest thing. I'm not gonna have like a whole like silo type thing.
A whole lab?
Yeah.
Okay. All
Reverse
right.
osmosis lab is what I'll take with me.
True. Yeah, and the world-class leading scientist.
Also, does this island have like caves or like
Uh,
what's it look like? It's just an
it's
island
yeah, it's
with
small, uninhabited. So I mean, there's a dense jungle in the middle,
okay,
but there's like no kind of big like rock formations. It's just
okay,
pretty like standard like cartoon island.
perfect. All right.
All right, pretty good. Hot start to both of you actually. Do you have any notes on each other's items so far?
No, I
I
think Surge
like
is
it.
pretty solid.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
Roberts as well.
All right. So with item number two, Serge, what are you hitting us with?
Um, I'm thinking rope of some kind, like a really. So again, I don't know what kind of rope would be a good one that can be kind of either used to tie things or like create a net.
Mm,
Because again, I'm thinking maybe I want to try to catch some fish. You said that it's shark infested water, so I'll try to stay a little bit closer to um like the edge of the island. I know a good way to catch fish is you kind of create like a funnel with more shallow water where fish kind of
Mm,
swim into it, but then they can't swim back out because it kind of once they get into like that little funnel, like little scoop, they can't swim back out. So I feel like that'd be a good way, and then obviously use the nets to create that funnel. And then
okay.
again, if I have the rope, I can use it to like reinforce my little humble abode that I'm gonna make out of sticks and trees.
Mm,
I can use it to maybe even create like a barrier around my little camp that can warn me if something is maybe moving in at night.
mhm.
Like those 4 4 foot long lizards that you say, they kind of sound like a threat now.
Yeah,
So
no, they
maybe
are.
yeah, maybe I could find pebbles and put them around the rope, and then where I sleep, and then as when they move the rope, it would kind of give me a warning at night. So
Yeah,
those are the multiple uses I'm thinking.
and I think with
mm.
monitor lizards, they're pretty territorial.
Mm,
So last thing you want to do is be caught in a lizard den. So,
yeah.
yeah. All right, rope is good. All right, Robert, your number two item.
I think for me, it might have to be like a waterproof shelter kit, sort of like a tarp.
Mm,
So because I mean we're gonna be trapped in monsoons at night, so you're gonna want to stay dry.
hmm.
So some sort of shelter that I can use. However, my first item will play along with this second, so I can't go into it just yet. Okay,
Okay.
so I'll give more background as to what I can do with my first item.
Okay. Which is the water filtrator, right? Or
Well, I
with
guess
the
that's
tarp.
the third item, right? Third, because we're going 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So three,
yeah,
two, one.
yeah,
Either one. Okay. Okay. So tarp and to be determined use. I like the use of shelter though. Uh, I think the first night, like having to survive it like bone dry without any kind of standardized shelter is going to be really rough. So the fact that you already have it, I think is really good too.
exactly.
Yeah, and the rope is also really good because it's multi-purpose. I think the thing with rope is like how long of a rope are you gonna have, Serge? Is it like
I'm gonna say magically I get like access to like 300 feet of rope.
okay? No, 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 no. It's like it's no magical item, so you can't wish for like a fridge full of beer.
Oh no,
You
I'm
know,
saying I'm saying that it's 200 feet of rope.
300 feet of rope. Okay,
Yeah,
300. Okay.
yeah.
300
And
feet is good.
also, my tarp can be used in for the daytime since we're being heat.
Hmm.
So got to stay cool underneath there.
Yeah,
So I mean,
shelters.
shelter plays a big role.
Okay.
Just like Bear Grylls always says, you always got to find shelter first,
Hmm.
then water, and then food.
Okay. I love the way you guys are going about it. Where like Robert's very like, how am I gonna stay safe? How am I gonna stay sane? And Sarah just thinking like, how am I gonna, you know, advance myself in this? You know, like how am I gonna be proactive about it? So I like it. Very, very good. All right, Serge, final item. Item
So
three.
for this first one, I'm kind of stuck between two.
Mm.
Either I want like a fire starter kit because I mean I've seen ways to make fire in shows and movies, but I don't know how reliable this stuff is.
Yeah.
Yeah, or literally just like an assortment of pots and pans. I'm being serious because that gives you
Mm.
access to collect the water,
That's true.
a way to burn the water and purify it, not as I guess fancily as Robert would, but
Hmm.
still a way to, like I said, boil it and help get rid of anything that might be there. And the fire starter, I mean, the obvious.
Well, you have to
I
pick one.
Yeah, I know. So this is I'm kind of stuck, and I think I'm gonna go with the pots and pans because it gives me more versatility. And
Okay.
again, like I said, it's a good way to all the water that I somehow funnel when it's monsoon season. Now I have a place to collect it that for sure isn't never gonna leak, or
Hmm.
I don't know, like just somehow it gets messed up, and
Hmm.
then I'm gonna have it there, and then whenever I need to use it, I can use it for cooking or for boiling to then drink it.
Right. I like it. I think I also would have gone with pots and pans, honestly. Like, I mean, you got all day to figure out how to make a fire.
Yeah, that's what I did as well. It's like eventually you'll figure it out. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's not like you need a fire within like the first 2 weeks, you know? You can live off the coconuts for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
and
you're
that means
yeah,
it's gonna creep up on you, Serge.
hey, I
Hit him with a
think
pan.
yeah. And once those 2 weeks are over, then I can when I figure out how to start a fire, I can start cooking stuff.
Unless the sharks grow legs and come at you like like the other guys.
But I thought I thought you were gonna say they're gonna make the Italian meme joke, the weird one.
The
Uh,
tralalero tralala.
Exactly.
No, no,
the
no, from the other guys.
they're gonna develop a series of water apparatuses. That's funny. All right, pretty good. Honestly, Serge, you cooked. All right, Robert, your hot
All right.
start. What's your item number three?
Item number three is gonna have to be like some sort of like machete.
Okay.
Any like machete type, knife type of deal.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna need that to cut down trees
Hmm.
so that way I can build a structure for my tarp, which will serve as, so I'm not gonna be in the heat or in the rainy weather. I can also use the machete to cut. I mean, I don't know which kind of trees or plants they are, but you can thinly slice it and then you can make a rope out of it by twirling it around and that way it gets stronger. So Serge, I'm shitting on your rope idea because you don't need the rope. All you need is nature. God provides you with all the things that you need already.
Hmm.
And then um also cut open the coconuts, way more easy. And I don't need no pots and pans because I can use the coconuts to collect the water. Um, I can, yeah. So I mean, the knife gives me a lot of utility, and I can use that for many different things.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll save my I guess my judgments for the other one. I was gonna
And
say,
also, yeah.
oh, what were you gonna
Oh,
say?
I was gonna say a fire starter kit as well, like Surge, but I think that since I already have that tarp and have some sort of a base,
Hmm.
I can use the tarp to cut. Well, I'll cut down the trees and then store logs underneath the tarp so that way it gets dry. Because you're not gonna be able to start a fire with
Wet wood.
wet. Hmm.
Hmm. And the Surge has like wet wood over the dry wood.
Right.
It kind of blocks it up. All right. Good, good. You both did really well. Honestly, I feel pretty confident about being with both of you, honestly, at this point. All right. So now scenario two. Uh, it takes place in northern Canadian forest. So during a routine survey flight, you are in a small plane and it crashes in an endless northern forest. The pilot is dead, and you are injured. Well, you have fractured ribs, a sprained ankle, and winter is weeks away. Wild predators lurk beyond the wreckage, and you are utterly alone. The temperatures here will reach below 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And the threats are, of course, going to be frostbite, wolves, bears, and your injuries that are worsening. Food is you do have fresh water, but you do have to get it under ice and mud, okay? Because it's
Okay.
frozen over.
Oh, okay.
But there is fresh water. You just have to access it. Of course, there's really not that many insects for now, but within the summer months, you know, it'll become more green, and then you have to deal with insects and things like that. But it's not for a couple months. So you're gonna have to
Okay.
survive now, the cold winter, and eventually the spring and the summer. And it's in Canada. Okay.
And you said that the only access to food is kind of frozen under a layer of ice.
Fresh water is
Oh, fresh water is
fresh
available.
Okay.
fresh water. So I think that kind of clarifies the need for needing purified water. So as long as you're able to
Okay.
access that. And this one is a little bit tougher, so minus the part where you're injured and stuff. You just miraculously are unscathed after the plane crash.
So would you say
Yeah.
we have a sprained ankle and
Yeah, no, we'll cut that out.
okay.
Unless you want to need it. Because 3 items I think is pretty dire. Okay.
No, 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 yeah.
But you do also have access to the plane. Okay.
Okay. Okay,
So
that's
do with that what you will.
so the
So you have the
plane
plane.
doesn't count as an item
The
then,
plane doesn't
right?
count it as an item.
But the
But you will have to
But the
survive.
but we're imagining it's like somebody else cleared it out somehow before.
Yeah.
Like
No,
everything flew out. It's just a plane.
yeah, it was a survey
okay.
flight, so you were there just to take pictures. So it's, I mean, unless you want camera equipment. But
Might as
yeah,
well.
so pretty standard stuff. So I'm gonna give you guys 2 minutes. Again, as you guys are thinking, you know, the big things that you guys are gonna have to go face is gonna be the elements,
Mm-hmm.
specifically minus 30-degree weather. So it's gonna be very, very cold. There's gonna be wolves, bears, and then of course you do have access to that fresh water. But you do need a way to kind of gather that because it is buried beneath like a sheet of snow and ice. Um, but the conditions are expected to get better. So, you know, you have to basically rough it out through the winter months and hopefully spring kind of gets it a little bit easier.
So right now it's like it's about to be winter
Dead of
or it's
winter.
already winter.
Yeah,
Okay.
dead of winter. Yeah. I mean, it's Canada, so it'll be cold for a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty. You guys have 1 more minute. 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Hmm.
I am ready.
Damn.
Surge is on it.
I just watched The Thing recently, which doesn't really involve survival, at least not
Hmm.
of the environment, not of like nature,
Hmm.
but it took place in the cold. So yeah,
Hmm. That's funny.
that's the best I can come up with in trying to survive in this situation.
Yeah. And then again too, like with this scenario, you do have access to the plane wreckage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so do with that what you will. 30 seconds. Whenever you're ready, Robert.
All right. So I think my first item
Okay.
is going to have to be a sleeping bag, but one of those made for like obviously if I was in the plane and I was headed to Canada, I was
Hmm.
already going to be prepared with that. So
Okay.
my sleeping bag miraculously is still in the wreckage of the plane. I've
Okay.
got the sleeping bag to survive in the cold.
Like the
Uh,
weather graded ones.
exactly. Like one
Okay.
of those North Face ones.
Okay.
So that'll keep me warm during the night. I can use it inside the plane, block out the plane, so that way. Well, I try my best. I don't know how does a plane look like. What ends are missing, like, or what does it look like specifically?
You just have the wing. I'm just kidding. No, it's like the center cabin, I would imagine. So like no wings or anything like that. It's just like the cabin.
So like it's the cylinder, right? And like
Yeah, the
I'm
cylinder.
assuming like both ends are missing, or
Yeah.
just okay.
Oh,
So I
like
mean,
I would imagine it's like nosedive in. So like the front of the plane is like
ah,
submerged and like the other parts kind of opened up.
oh, okay. So then yeah, I just have to figure out the best way to cover up the other end, so that way snow doesn't get in, any sort of like cold drafts. Try my best to block it out. Use that sleeping bag at night to stay
Okay.
warm so I can survive at least the first few weeks like that. After that, we'll see what happens with my next items.
All right. Good start. Good start. All right, Serge, what's your first item?
Immediately, I'm thinking a fire starter kit for sure this time. I'm not, I'm not risking it for
You're
two
not
weeks to try to figure out how to start a fire.
Okay.
especially in a place that's gonna be covered in snow.
Hmm.
Everything's gonna be wet. But yeah, I mean, the main thing, staying warm. The second main thing, food. It's just those two things. Nothing else really matters. And so first, I'm gonna go with staying warm.
Hmm.
And that fire starter kit is gonna give me access to being able to make a fire. Now I know you said there's wild animals. Thankfully, with the plane, I can create a fire and somehow still be protected from any animals that might be attracted
Hmm.
to that, if that's the case. But yeah, I'm just going pretty simple, pretty standard, and that's been my first item.
Okay. Fire starter kit. I like it. All right. Simple but to the point, which
Yeah,
is
for
pretty,
sure.
which is pretty good with like considering you're like just out of a fresh out of a plane crash. You don't have time to like gather a lot. You're just like, what do I need? Okay,
Hmm.
good. All right, Robert, what's your second item?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Surge and get some sort of flint and steel fire starter kit.
Nice, Minecraft.
Because I mean, it's gonna be cold. The trees are gonna be wet.
Hmm.
It's gonna be hard to create fire with any, like we said before, any wet wood. So fire starter kit, I think, is essential in this scenario.
Okay, fire starter kit as well. Nice. And then I'm not like docking you guys points if you guys overlap. So
Okay.
no, yeah, no worries. Because I mean, like kind of like I was saying to Serge, like it's the basics that are gonna keep you alive. I kind of just want to see like how you guys navigate certain things. All right,
Okay.
Serge, your second item.
So, kind of like Robert did in the past, my second one will lead into my last one, but I'll talk about my second one. So, instead of um his sleeping bag, I just want like a full like Arctic getup, like know what I mean? Like so the
Oh,
whole yeah, like I'm gonna be walking around like I can't even move, basically. Know what I mean?
okay, okay,
So
okay.
like multiple jackets, like sweatpants, pants, two more layers of pants, like five socks,
Mm,
like boots, like super sturdy boots. I mean, as high
Oh.
as it can be, maybe even like I would say knee high, just to really make sure there's no water getting in there. But yeah, basically the whole get up. No, like five gloves, like five beanies. I want to have multiple layers because not only am I going to use this in the day, but also to sleep.
yeah, no, and that is a good point because you were just on the plane. You weren't expecting to crash, so it's not like you're gonna have, all these layers on you.
Oh, wait, so
Okay.
was the plane en route to Canada or we
You're
were just
flying
flying over?
over. Yeah, you guys are just
But I think it's fine if we
clearly.
say whatever items. If somehow they were in storage of the plane, right? Like in this scenario.
Yeah. Uh, I would imagine as long as it's well, because that's kind of limiting, like to say it would like fit in a suitcase or something. But
Yeah.
it was just on you. Like you would just happen to have it on the plane, which is why it would just be the three items. So it's not like
Oh,
you have like 18 things where it's like, oh, I have a fire starter, I have
Yeah.
jackets, things like that.
I
So
have like a TV and Wi-Fi router. That wouldn't make
yeah,
sense either.
you have Starlink.
Exactly.
You have Hulu Plus. Okay. Okay, multiple layers. I like that. Versatile. All right, Robert, your last item.
okay. So I do have a question though. Are
Hmm.
we staying with the wreckage the whole 8 months, or are we like moving around,
Up to you.
or it's up to us?
Up to you.
Oh man. Okay.
Remember, it is
If
eight
that,
months.
I know that's why, because I'm in between two items right now.
Hmm.
It's either I'm gonna have a rifle with me or some sort of, because if I either or, okay, if we're moving around, I'm gonna need the rifle to fight off against any bears or wolves. However, I could also use a shovel to dig in the snow because I know the more you dig and the lower you are, the more warm it's gonna be for me. So it's what do I need? Uh, I think I'm gonna go with the shovel only
Okay.
because I do have the fire starter kit. The fire starter kit can, use its purpose to fight off wolves. Like in the gray, they used fire with the wolves to kind of, back them off. So I think with the shovel, if I am moving around, I can also use the shovel to access the water that's frozen below. Easy access. There we go. Don't have to worry about that no more. So I think the shovel would come to great use, shoveling ice. I can also build an igloo if the snow is like that hard compact kind of snow, build an igloo. You never
There is
know.
no way you pull off building an
S-
igloo. Get out of here.
No, so
You're
watch.
crazy.
No, I gotta. So I watched this guy on YouTube. His
Outdoor
YouTube
Boys?
channel. Yes, the outdoor
Yeah,
boards.
that's facts.
My boy, dude. I saw him build in like a, I
An
guess
igloo?
like an igloo, dude. But it doesn't look that hard. It just looks like a lot of labor, but it doesn't look too difficult to actually do. I mean, obviously, like you risk the igloo being caved in on you, but I think it's pretty doable. So I'm gonna go with the shovel.
Yeah, I think on Outdoor Boys, yeah, I love that channel. It's like perfect ASMR
Dude, I
shit
love
too.
it.
Um, I think it takes him like a good 5, 6 hours to make like a
Yeah.
pretty decent sized igloo. And I think he says like within a day or two they're likely to collapse just because the
Hmm.
heat and the insulation kind of weakens the structure over time. And then of course like the snow that's building up over the top will kind of shrink it too.
Exactly.
Okay, but it is pretty good. All right. All right. Serge, your last item.
So I'm thinking like again, I don't know the specifics, but kind of like a dagger machete type combo, like something that has a good length but is super sturdy. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So something that lies in between, I don't know the specifics, but something like that. Hopefully you're catching my drift.
Okay.
And for this, I want to rip off the coverings from each of the seats to create additional layers of warmth or to cover up areas of the plane. So like I guess like the mesh fabric covering on each of the seats, so that would create additional layers that I need for, again, heat, cover, warmth. Also, so I can pick away at the ice that you said is basically the only access to water, because below is where it's frozen. So I guess I'm just gonna rely on what's on top until it starts melting away. So pick away with it, somehow collect it, and then just wait for it to melt, and then from there drink it. And then again, if I need some kind of way to defend myself, I'll be able to do that. I'll be able to pick out some trees if for some reason I need to get access to. Maybe I'm gonna steal a little bit of Robert's idea here. I'm not apologizing for this. I am truly shameless, but so I can create maybe just like a flame to carry on a stick.
Hmm.
So again, ward off any animals. Basically, I feel like this is one of the things that can serve multiple purposes again.
Mhm.
So definitely
Okay.
necessary for me.
So you said it was like a machete and a dagger?
Well, something in between that because I want it to be really sturdy, but I want it to have a good length.
Mm.
Like a musket.
Like
What?
a Bowie knife?
Let me Google that what that is.
It's like
That's
those
just like a
long
very
knives.
giant. Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, just like a big one though, for sure. But that's something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely what I meant.
I think Bowie knife, the next step is sword. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, all right. Pretty close round. Um,
You
I think this situation's a lot harder than the other one.
should have
Uh,
made this like D&D style, Mikey.
where like
Where
you roll
like you're like
20
the
to
ma
face a bear.
exactly. And like if we don't, then we don't survive that, or we don't get that tool.
That'd be funny, like an adventure game. All right. This one's tough, but I think I'm gonna have to go with that one. Okay. Scenario number three. So for scenario number three, we're in the great land of Australia. We brought it up during our apocalypse episode, which is
Yep.
just modern day Australia. So this one, you're deep in the scorched heart of Australian outback. Your 4x4 dies catastrophically. Uh, so your only shelter is a metal vehicle, which is quickly turning into an oven. There are no nearby towns, no satellite receptions, and no mercy. It's 120 degrees in the day, 40 degrees at night. So of
Dang.
course, you're gonna have to face dehydration, possible heat stroke, and freezing nights. And of course, Australia known for their venomous snakes and spiders. Also emus, kangaroos, and dingoes. So of course, it's the desert because it is the outback, so there's scarce food and little to no surface water. All right.
Dang, this one's tough.
So how are you navigating this?
I'm just not going to Australia. So no, I'm not even put in that situation.
All right, I'm starting the 2 minutes now, so you have 2 minutes to think.
Dang, this one's tough, Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
Is there at least like trees and stuff like that? Some sort of for like or no?
Yeah, it's just very scarce. So you'll see like one tree every, 2 miles, quarter mile. So it's pretty scarce.
So you're in Australia.
Hmm.
What did you say the temperatures were again?
120 degrees during the day,
Jeez.
40 degrees at night. So you're
And
facing pretty extreme weather changes. So it's gonna be
and
cold
are
as shit at night and then hot as shit during the day.
Oh man.
Just have
and
1 minute left.
I have no idea. I might be cooked on this one, not gonna lie.
So there's also animals, right? What kind of animals did you say? There's spiders, snakes.
Yeah, you have spiders, snakes, dingoes, emus, kangaroos, koalas, things like that.
Yeah, this is a crazy one, Mikey.
Hmm.
Mm. I'm
And
about to pull out something crazy for my first one.
yeah,
Pull out an RPG from you.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think for this one, it's uh, I mean logistically it won't make any sense, but I think uh no matter what, you're going to be alone during this time. So like you can explore and there, you might find like an oasis, you might find vegetation, things like that. But you do have to explore to get there. But just for the entirety of the time, you do have to face it alone. So you are stranded in the Australian wilderness.
If I dig far deep enough, will I eventually get water?
Reach China.
Like that's just up to luck. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Man, this one's hard.
All right, 2 minutes are up.
Basically, you're just in a desert with nothing.
I know. It's
Three
just
things and a car that broke down on you.
oh man.
All right,
So who's going
Surge.
for a surge? Okay.
Surge. It's Surge's turn.
So you said the was hmm. I was gonna say a compass as my first one because I was gonna be like my best chance is to get out of there and try to find something.
Okay.
But you said that no matter what, we're gonna be there for 8 months.
You're gonna be there for 8 months. Uh-huh.
So now I feel like if I use a compass, it's gonna be useless because it's never gonna get me anywhere. Because my thinking was like, I'm getting the compass. I'm gonna go. Well, it depends where we were in Australia to the closest cities because usually they line the coast because everything in the middle is kind of uninhabitable. So I was gonna try to, I guess, pick a side that was closest to the coast. Like if east is the closest, I was just gonna start heading east.
Unless you're like
But
really west and then you just
yeah, then go west. But now basically you said it's pointless. So
Yeah, but you would eventually reach certain places. They're just like imagine it's like ancient Australia.
There's just nothing. It's just desert.
I
Yeah,
see what you mean.
you,
Yeah,
you you somehow time travel, you have a vehicle in ancient Australia. It breaks down on you.
man, this is super hard.
So if you do need to reach the coast, you will. Um, okay. Are you
I
still
think I'm still going with the compass
okay?
because what I don't want is to be basically traveling in a big circle
Mm,
or somehow I go east, but then I start going slightly north, and then I end up just basically, like I said, I'm going in a big circle, never reaching one of the edges, which I feel like
okay.
is going to be really important because that's more likely, in theory, civilizations are built around water sources. So if Australia naturally builds cities around the edges, there's going to be more access to water sources. So that's why I'm trying to, that's something that compass will get me to these edges where there's more likely to be maybe rivers, lakes, any kind of reservoir. So yeah, I'm going just a compass on my first one.
Okay. All right. Good start. Robert, first
I
item.
think I'm gonna have to go with like a heavy duty, heavy duty solar reflective blanket.
Damn.
Just because you did say that the vehicle is gonna get toasty, it's
Hmm.
gonna basically an oven. So use that to drape it over the vehicle.
Hmm.
Can use that to reflect some of at least the sun rays, maybe cool it down a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, this can provide shade for me during the day and shelter at night against like the cold nights. Also, because it is in Australia, they do get monsoon season sometimes. So hopefully this is around that time. I can use the tarp to hopefully catch some water and use that to survive because you did say water is scarce. So hopefully it is rainwater season and I can catch some of that. So I'm gonna have to use that. That's my first item.
Yeah. And during the 8 months, you will experience those monsoons. Okay.
Exactly. So thinking ahead.
And there's also dust storms that they get a lot. So there's quite a bit
Mm.
you got to worry about. All right, Serge, item number two.
This is might be theoretical because I don't know if it exists.
Okay.
Is there a way to purify your own urine so you can drink it
I
that
think there
exists in
is.
this world?
Let's see.
I think there is, but you would eventually like run out of that cycle.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. How else am I going to get water that might last me a while? And basically, what is a desert with nothing? So I
Okay.
know. I think Robert's looking it up.
Yeah, so there's like these little tablets that'll help with it to purify your urine.
I'll be taking an 8 month supply of those tablets
Okay.
because again, you need to find water and you need to have access to water when there's no water. So food, you can. I think you can survive. I think it's 2 or 3 weeks in theory without food. But water, I think it's only 3 to 5 days before you
Mhm.
really. I think it's like the fifth day. That's when you're like basically is GG.
But I feel because there are animals around us, there has to be some sort of water around because
Mhm.
then they wouldn't
Yeah,
be
but
able to
that's
survive.
that. That again, it's such a game of chance. Like, let's say you find water, like that's if you find it and how much water can you find that you'll be able to live on that area for a prolonged amount of time. Eventually, you might have to move on, and during that time, what are you going to drink? So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Mm,
Find
Just
water and then find a way to keep drinking water.
just drink the
mm.
urine of other animals there with me.
So I'm taking an 8 month supply of those pills to turn your urine into water.
You get the boner pills instead. Use that as a sundial.
You
Yeah,
rolled a -3, Serge. You instead get boner pills.
I know. Start having sperm races with all the animals.
All right. Item two, Robert.
I think I'm gonna have to go with like a metal pot. So that way, if I do find water, I can boil the dirty water. Because the water's gonna be filled with parasites and disease. Who knows what kind of disease the koalas are putting inside the water?
Chlamydia.
Exactly. Also, if there is vegetation, I can use it to cook any roots, insects, or any small animals. I can have to kidnap a koala bear, put him in there, dude. And just use it to distill any water and just cook any food that I do find.
Okay. Okay. Good. All right, Serge. Last item.
So my last one is basically the same as Robert's, like basically like a pot or a pan where I can carry water, where I can what's it called, boil water, so I can make it drinkable. Um, Weapons. I mean, we're in a car. I can probably just rip off something that I can use it to bludgeon something to death with. So that's not really a concern. Um, Again, since we're in the desert, I think it's pretty implied that I would have some clothes to cover me from the sun. I feel like that's not a stretch. So again, I mean, my main focus is just water, and then after that, I feel like I would just have to make do with everything else I have to be able to find, like either like a type of weapon or a type of way to get the food. But as long as I have a way to deal with the essentials, because basically it's kind of like in the tundra where like if you're not dealing with the basics, anything else doesn't really matter because you're not really gonna ever get that far
Mhm.
because you would just have died.
All right. Good point. Robert, last item.
I think for my last item, it's gonna have to be some sort of survival knife. And just because if I do encounter any animals, it's gonna be up close and personal. I'm not gonna want like a rifle or something. It's gonna be an up close and personal fight. So I'm gonna need the knife to fight off any animals. I can also use it to build any traps of some sort to try and capture snakes. Can eat that, boil them
Okay.
in the pot, um, and then my heavy duty solar reflective blanket, put the pot on top of that. It's gonna boil.
Mhm.
So there we go. Easy food for me right there. Make shelter with the knife, cutting down trees, carving tools. So I think the blade's gonna come in handy for me in this
All right.
scenario.
Pretty good. All right. So I'm here looking at our time. We're at an hour and about 6 minutes on the podcast. We have gone over three scenarios. Um, so I think, and the other two scenarios I had were going to be like the Swiss Alps and the Amazon rainforest, which I feel like we kind of went over with the first one being like a deserted island. So it's going to be a lot of the
Hmm.
same conditions, and the other one being Canada. So pretty cold situation as well. All right. So my notes for the first round when it was the island, I went ahead and I went with Robert.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I feel like Robert did a good job about managing the basics, which was, water filtration. You are on the island, so coming across clean water may be pretty difficult. You did also address the tarp, which could be used multiple ways, and the machete is just always goaded. And I think the way you were presenting them, you were more adaptable with multiple uses, making your own rope, things like that. I don't know how you would go about making rope, but it seems like you're pretty confident about making it.
Hmm.
Serge, yours was also really good. You took care of the things that Robert was gonna get through time, such as like rope and having a hatchet and having things like that. Um, but I think the way Robert was kind of going about it was like he would eventually get there, and once he got there, the tools he had would help him thrive. And kind of the tools you had were already kind of there. But they are like goated items like rope to catch fish, reinforced structure, which is also very important. I just felt like Robert was a little bit more, uh, I guess, adaptable on that one. Even though it was really close, like it was back and forth. It was really, really good. Uh, Scenario two, which was the Canadian plane crash. I went ahead and I went with Serge on this one. I did like that Robert brought up the shovel because it'd be good access. You can make igloos, you can access clean water, and he had a fire starter and he had a sleeping bag, which are all very important. But I think what really won Sergio this round was the multiple layers. Because I feel like being able to move around while being warm is a big plus. Just because it's going to be minus, 30 degrees at night, it's still going to be cold as shit at all other points of the day. So I think he has a little bit more maneuverability with the things he kind of came up with. That machete hatchet dagger was a little bit of a like a weird one, just because I didn't know exactly what it was. But I did go ahead and just
It's a
give him.
Bowie knife, as clearly established by all of us together.
All right, it was a Bowie knife. Uh, I I feel like it's not as versatile as a shovel, but it's still versatile enough to have given you that point surge. Which brings us to the last one, which was Australia. This one was tough. I
What? Sorry, but what a surprise that Australia is the hardest one to survive. Who would have
yeah,
known?
right.
All right.
It's gonna make our apocalyptic video. It's gonna be number one. Just survive Australia. This one was tough because when I was thinking about it, the first thing where my head went to was also compass. Um, just because it can help you navigate things like that. Um, I feel like the 8 month supply of water tablets, while useful, I think you'd find better ways to go about it. The pots and pans are really good, and you can also use them as a weapon. I also like that Surge is using the vehicle as a point to like kind of salvage weapons, materials, things like that. So I did really like that. Uh, Robert, you came up with the heavy duty solar reflective blanket, which is crazy. Uh, Multiple uses for it again, much like your first one where you're kind of using that tarp
Hmm.
to kind of be multi-purpose. Metal pot, again for purifying water, um, and distilling water, and of course things like that. And then a survival knife, of course, great thing. Uh, this one was tough too, but I think if I had to, be trapped with someone, whether it's either Robert or Serge, based on kind of these items, I think being with Robert, we'd be able to come up with a faster way up. I think Serge would be able to get there, but then after a while, we'd kind of be stuck with pills. Um, and we'd have clean water, which is important because we're in a desert and we don't know when we're gonna get water. Uh, but I feel like Robert also has a way of like distilling water and getting things like that. He just had a little bit more. Uh, so close because water is important. Like I think Serge addressed the most important thing on it. I just think he spent like he had a pot to distill water, which I feel like would make the pills kind of useless.
That's true.
So that's just how I kind of felt about it. So this one I'm gonna go with Robert. So Robert, You won the episode.
Nice. I get
Y-
my first dub of the season.
Yeah, you are our survival expert extraordinaire.
It definitely paid off to watch the Outdoor Boys then.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you guys have not seen Outdoor Boys, highly recommend you guys go see them. A lot of cool stuff.
All right. Serge, any rebuttals to what transpired today?
No, I think Robert really went into his bag with that reflective blanket thing. Like I would have never like I've never
Yeah.
even heard of that. So Robert definitely has some some survival knowledge stuck in his brain, some crazy level stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think I would also feel comfortable if I was with him.
Yeah.
Miguel, not so sure because he's such a gamble. I feel like he come up with crazy things that, that I don't know
Yeah.
if they would work. So I think Robert is the safe choice out of all of us
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think Robert's the survivalist side of the three of us. It was a good episode though.
It was.
I think Serge, you really cooked with the multiple layers on the snow thing. Uh and like again, the first round was super close because rope, I can easily see how you can easily get fish with it, hatchets and things like that, pots, pans. That's exactly like your three are like what I would have gotten. But then listening to Roberts, I was like, holy shit! Like getting that tarp, getting that filtration, that's gonna be really good too. So I think I mean, I would have gone with your Surge, but I think Roberts was better, which is crazy. Uh, so he made me change my mind. But yeah, that's today's episode. We have Robert as our survival expert, and then next
Nice.
week I believe
Yeah,
Surge is gonna be
Surge.
our host.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
So then.
I will be next as a host as you mentioned.
Yeah, and it'll be great because then one of us, Robert and I, get to tie Serge with 2 wins.
That's
Ah, that's
true.
So
true
we'll be able to put another win in the column. Hopefully, I'll come out on top on that one. But you'll have to tune in next time to see who pulls out the dub, Robert or I.
for
Um,
sure for sure.
yeah, but thank you so much for joining us today. It was a little bit longer of an episode, but we did cover a lot. We went from the Popes to
From sperm
soccer
racing.
to sperm racing all the way to surviving in a rainforest. But thank you, and you all take care.